we worked on a casino that's on the Strip, the Cromwell, and that's a Caesars project. And it's it had a budget. We had to be budget conscious. It was still $200 million plus project.
Are you ready to learn how to grow your interior design business? Welcome to the lounge, the Chaise Lounge. So get comfortable, grab a glass of Cabernet, and let's talk the business of interior design. Now, here's your host, Nick May.
Well, welcome and thanks for joining me today in the lounge. I'm Nick May, your host, and today we're going to be talking about growing your interior design business. So whether you're in Chicago, Milan, or Biloxi, Mississippi, I know you want to do one thing. You want to grow your interior design business. And we're going to do just that by finding out how successful designers do that from around the world. And today is no exception. We've got a fantastic designer out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Kim Dauost from Tandem Design runs a really fantastic design business. She is doing kind of the big stuff. She's doing hotels and hospitality. And so it's a really interesting story. I don't think that we have gotten into quite so much. I know we had a designer here from Denver that was more into the commercial space, but I don't think we've talked about hotels, and I know we haven't talked about casinos. So great interview coming up with Kim. But before we jump in, let me remind you of a few things. You can connect with me over at the website, thechaiseloungepodcast.com. Of course, on iTunes and Stitcher. And I got to be honest with you, Stitcher's been kind of acting really weird with my podcast and with some others that I've talked to, some friends. So if you're on Stitcher and you've been having problems, know that it's not necessarily from our end. I know that they've been cutting off episodes. Speeds have been all wonky. So I don't know what's going on over at Stitcher, but if you've got an Apple phone, if you're listening on the iPhone, or if you're on the website, those are just fine. A couple pieces of housekeeping that I want to get into before we get into our interview today. Hey, we've got a webinar coming up on June 9th at 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. That means if you're on the East Coast, that means you are going to be at 9 o'clock. And if you're on the West Coast, you're going to be at 6 o'clock. So hopefully that helps. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to have Jay from VA Staffer on. So Jay is one of the sponsors of the show. He can help you with all your back-end stuff, all your website stuff. So we're going to talk about kind of the 5 things that every interior design website needs to have. I'm sure we'll go down some bunny trails, but we're going to cover the 5 things that your website needs to have. So whether you need to redesign, if you don't have a website at all, or you've just kind of thought, I don't know if I've got things right, this would be a great webinar for you to go to. So what I need you to do is we're going to put a button over on the right-hand side on the website. I'll try to put it towards the top so it's easy to find, but it'll be a registration button. So you'll just put some basic information, and then we'll send you all the information of how to get online, and just know that it is a free webinar. So super fantastic, right? Hey, I don't know about you, but the year is flying by for me. I can't believe we're almost to June. My sons are almost out of school. They're in their last week, and this is craziness. Summer is just right around the corner. I can't believe it. It feels like we haven't even had a warm day yet. I mean, it feels like we just had snow here in Denver. But I've been super busy. We've been flying all around. I've got exciting news to tell you about at the end of the show, so stick around for that. On one of my recent trips that you may know about, if you've been listening to me for any stretch of time here, it's been very fun, but it has made for a very fast year. Like, I cannot believe we're going to be into the 6th month. Like, we're almost halfway through the year already. How did that happen? Let's just jump into my interview with Kim and Tandem Design. So Kim, beer, wine, or a cocktail?
It depends on the day.
Ooh. So let's say it's a Saturday night and you've gone out with girlfriends.
Cocktail.
Cocktail. Is there a favorite?
Yes. Deep Eddy's Ruby Red vodka, soda water, and splash of 7-Up.
Oh, you know exactly what to order. You don't ever go out with the girls, do you?
And I do, actually.
So
I actually, I don't think I've told you about this, but I actually I moved my family to Austin about 2.5, 3 years ago. And so I commute weekly to Las Vegas. And so when I'm in Vegas, I'm by myself and I go out with the girls or my girlfriends or some of the designers will go out. So yes, I do go out with the girls.
Oh goodness. That's my wife just changed jobs and she went from a 1 mile commute to a 45-minute drive, but that's nothing compared to what you do.
Yeah. A 2-hour and 30-minute flight every Monday and Thursday or Friday. Yep.
Wow. So, your family,
Yeah.
Are you married?
I'm married.
Kids?
Yep. 2 kids.
What ages?
I have a 16-year-old. He just turned 16 and a 13-year-old girl.
I am almost right with you. I have a 12 and a 14, but they're 2 boys.
Okay.
So with the 14-year-old, we're getting ready to drive. Any advice?
You know, has he been behind the wheel?
Not to my knowledge.
No?
I know when I was 15,
mine.
I was driving my parents' vehicles and they didn't know. So,
you know, with my son, when we moved to Austin, he was 14 years old and we live off of this kind of 2-lane country road. And, he's a really responsible kid. He's been driving like boats and motorcycles and stuff all his life. So I said, you want to drive? So I let him. He's been driving since he was like 14, and he's really responsible and really good. So when he got his driver's license, he had been driving for a while. So I don't know. I would say, start getting in behind the wheel.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like good advice.
Yeah. Except for my 13-year-old daughter, she's like, so can I get behind the wheel? It's a little different. I'm like, yeah.
I can see that. That would be my 12-year-old. He'd be like, I want to drive, but he's like so tiny that he couldn't. I mean, we would have to have like 3 phone books if we could find them.
Yeah. The seat moved all the way towards the steering wheel, and yeah.
So how do you manage that? Do you go for like a week at a time, or do you go for like 2 weeks at a time?
Yeah, every week, and I travel back and forth. It was sort of the deal when we decided to move there. It was, this is the deal. I'm going to actually be gone during the week, and the kids had to be up for it, and my husband had to be up for it. And fortunately, he's really great, and he works from the house, so he's able to take care of our kids. And obviously, they're old enough to take care of themselves now, but be there for them. And so I fly out on like Monday or Tuesday, and I fly back on Thursday or Friday.
Wow.
Every single week. Wow. Yeah, it's crazy.
So does he have help, or does he have to shoulder all that responsibility by himself?
He does it all by himself.
My wife just got a job 45 minutes away, and I was like, we need some help. Like, I need a nanny or something because I can't take kids. Yeah.
I mean, I've got a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old, so they're pretty self-sufficient. It gets challenging for him. Well, especially before that, my teenager or 16-year-old got a car, but it got challenging with taking from one sport to another sport and going to this game and that game and back and forth, being a taxi service, but he made do.
Well, let's get back. Let's get back to talking about your business.
Okay.
So you didn't grow up in Vegas, right?
I did not. So
how did you get interested in interior design?
I believe that I grew up around my dad, who was a fabric salesman all my life, and my stepfather, who was an architect. And so I think between the two of them, I was sort of destined to be an interior designer.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. And then did you go to school?
I did. I went to school in Flagstaff at Northern Arizona University.
For interior design?
For interior design, yep.
Okay. Did you study anything else or just interior design?
Just interior design.
Okay, very focused.
Very focused.
And then you get out of Flagstaff, and did you get a job or an internship somewhere?
My first job was with Lamps Plus, and it was sort of, it was as their interior designer on staff to go in and do lighting for, people that wanted a lighting consultant to come in. And it was just a sort of an in-between job. I was going to be getting married. I graduated in December and I was getting married in March. And so I just needed a job for a few months, and that's what I was doing so then I got married and moved to Vegas, and that's when I got into hospitality design.
Now, is that where your husband lived?
No, my husband actually was my next door neighbor growing up in Phoenix.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. So no, what brought us to Las Vegas was my dad. He has a window covering manufacturing company here in Las Vegas, and so he needed somebody. He wanted to get my husband into his company, and so we moved out here for my husband to get a job with him. And my dad actually did some work with some interior designers and put my resume out to some firms for some people he knew. So yeah.
And then did you land a job with a bigger firm?
I did. My first job was with Paul Steelman Design Group, and they're a big architectural interior design group. They do hotels and casinos all around the world.
And how long did you stay with them?
I was with them for 5 years.
Okay. And then another firm, or?
Yes. Another firm. So after 5 years, I had left and went to another local firm, Morrison Brown, for just about under a year. And then went to Brad Friedmutter, which is another large architectural interior design firm here in town in Las Vegas. And I was with him for like 5 or 6 years. Then went back to Paul Steelman for a couple of years as the design director over there, and worked on the Hard Rock in Biloxi. It's a Hard Rock hotel and casino. And then Hurricane Katrina came and wiped out that property. And at that point, I was sort of emotionally tapped and drained and said, I'm going to start my own firm. And that's when I started Tandem.
So did they end up rebuilding the whole entire thing as you guys had done it the first time?
They did.
So they didn't change anything. They just said, all right, well, yeah, start over again.
Well, they did. Apparently they changed, some legislation had changed after Katrina, and they were able to now build landside, although they didn't build landside, but they did something different with the casino, the way that it was actually constructed. But basically for the most part, it's all the same. It was all done all the same. Yeah.
So then you decided to launch your own design firm. Did you do that by yourself or with someone else?
With a partner. Yep.
And had this been somebody you had worked with, or? Yes,
actually at Paul Steelman. I worked with them at Paul Steelman and actually at Brad Friedmutter's office.
Okay. And what was behind the decision to do a partnership versus just starting it by yourself?
There was, it just felt natural. It just felt like we worked so well together that we should just do this for ourselves. And we really worked well together. We always teased each other. I'm like the peanut butter to his jelly, and we just worked really great together. And so it seemed very natural to do the partnership.
Sure. And then was one more on the design side and one more on the business side, or how did you guys break that stuff up?
No, we both didn't know anything about business, really. And maybe I have a little more entrepreneurial spirit because like my dad has his own business. So maybe that's in me a little bit more, but no, we didn't. We both were interior designers. He is an interior architectural designer. He has a lot more experience. He's sort of worked for Disney, worked for a lot of big firms worldwide. And and was great with his hand in renderings and planning and things like that. And for me, he could articulate a concept, a design concept. I have something in my head, and he could actually make it come to life on paper. So it was really a great partnership.
Why did you guys? I know you don't have a partner anymore.
Yep.
How long did he stay a partner?
He was a partner. So Tandem's been in existence for about 11 years. So for like 5 years. So after we kind of went through the recession, and I guess it was still during the recession, and really times got really tight, obviously, and we held on, and it was tough for him. His family, he was a single income family, and it was tough on his family. So, he had to make a decision, and the decision was he had to go get a job that had a dependable paycheck and benefits and those types of things. So yeah.
When he left, how big was the firm? How many did you have employees, or was it just the two of you?
Oh, no, we had employees. At that point, we were just starting to rebuild. Obviously, before the recession, that we were up to about 15, 17 employees, and then went through the recession and got down to just being the two of us at one point. We were in the process of building back up, and I'm thinking there was probably about 7 of us when he left. Yeah, it's probably about right.
And then how big is the firm right now?
There's 12 of us.
There's 12?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's designers and admin and...
Yeah. There's one, we have one admin, and the rest of us are designers.
And then what kind of work do you guys do? Are you strictly hotel and hospitality?
Strictly. Hotels, casinos, restaurants, nightclubs.
So no residential whatsoever?
No. I mean, you get, every once in a while, we'll get a president of a hotel that'll ask us if we'll work on their house. And of course, we'll do that. But to go out there and say that we do residential, no. To market ourselves that way, no. Strictly hospitality.
Is that just because that was your background, or is there another reason?
Yeah, that's my background, and honestly, I can't really imagine. I mean, I suppose I can't imagine doing anything else, really. We get to create these really cool environments that people don't have to live in. They're only in it for a moment, And I feel like residential is very personal, and commercial seems kind of boring to me. So, it's kind of just what we specialize in and what we're passionate about.
Now, I have this idea in my head that the budgets are big and not so strict. Am I on target or no?
No. I mean,
everybody's got a budget.
Yeah, everyone has a budget. And, funny thing, I mean, none of my projects, I don't ever seem to get projects that don't have budgets. And, that's part of the challenge. I think that's one of the exciting challenges, is to be able to get a great design on a budget, right? So they're big projects. So there's obviously big total project budgets, but, overall they're not like a Wynn or a Bellagio budget.
So are you primarily working on smaller casinos then?
No, not to say the size of them are small. The size of the projects are smaller. It's just to say that the budgets aren't as big. So, we have to, we worked on a casino that's on the Strip, the Cromwell, and that's a Caesars project. And it's it had a budget. We had to be budget conscious. It was still $200 million plus project, but.
Can you walk us through, how does that even, I can't even get my head around, how does that start? Where does the conversation come from? Are these just folks that, because you've been in the industry so long, they just know who you are? Or what happens with that whole process?
Generally, it's an RFP process, and you get a request for a proposal, and it's a bid. They're bidding out the project, and hopefully you win the project. And when you do, you just kick off the meeting, and you just start planning. Generally, they have an idea. The property has an idea of what the project wants to be from a style perspective, and obviously a budget perspective. They've already gone through the pre-planning, so you're given budgets to work within at the beginning of a project.
And when you do an RFP, is that what it is? Okay,
Yep.
So request for proposal.
Yep.
And you're giving a bid. Are you giving a bid on just your design, like what it's going to take for you guys to design, or are you giving a budget for everything all in soup to nuts?
We're giving a design fee basically to design the project and see it through to opening, not the actual materials, not the actual furniture, not the actual pieces that go in, but just to design the interiors of it and do all the drawings and specifications and work with the contractors and work with the architects and, through the process. The projects that we work on, the size of the projects, they can take from 2 to 3 years sometimes, from beginning to completion. So, it's a commitment of time. And so our fees are generally just based on design and time.
So are you typically, to start this, are they handing you plans for this casino that is going to be built?
No, we've developed the plans. So
so you guys are all the way back to there. So you're doing architecture and interior design.
Yes, correct. So we'll work there's an architect on the job, and they'll give us the sort of a shell of, this is the envelope you have to work with, and we will start planning the interior planning from there.
Oh, goodness. And how competitive is this space? Like, are there like a ton of other companies out there going for the same projects? There
are. Yeah, it's competitive.
So what do you do in that process that gets you the edge? Is that the relationship? Is it, hey, we're going to be the cheapest price, or?
Well, I think it's relationship. I think that it's also, I'm a little different in that I like to be hands-on. So I don't ever just sort of get the deal and walk away and let the rest of my team run the projects. I really try and stay involved as much as possible throughout the projects. Obviously I don't know the everyday ongoings of every project, but I do stay, from inception of the project to the complete design of the project. I'm very much involved. And then once the design gets done and the drawings are done and the project starts getting constructed, at that point, I sort of just stay aware of the ongoings and, attend meetings here and there. But I try to stay involved. So I think that makes a difference. I think that's what makes me and my firm different, is that I am involved.
My guess is that there are, and I'm the new guy to the conversation. I don't know anything about, A, I don't know a ton about interior design, and B, I really don't know much about casinos and hospitality building and all of that. But my guess is there are a couple of players that build a lot of casinos, or at least a handful, probably not a ton all at the same time. But my guess is that you have the opportunity to work for the same companies over and over. Is that right?
That is right. That's correct.
So once you've proven yourself working with them on one project, then obviously you've got a much higher chance of getting a project down the road if things went well versus somebody that they have not worked with.
Correct. Yep. In our world, in casino world, you have, renovations. You have the stuff gets, with the masses of people that go to these properties, things tire. And, we say about every 5 years there's a renovation that happens. So even if you're not doing a new construction or a new build, you're renovating projects, sort of every 5 to 6 years.
But you're working on projects all over the world. You're not working on just casinos in Vegas. You're doing stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, you just talked about down in New Orleans.
In Gulfport, Mississippi.
Oh, Mississippi. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
And then where else have you worked on projects?
we're currently working on a new project in Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. We're building a Hard Rock there and a casino and a hotel.
Oh, fantastic! We'll probably end up going there for Thanksgiving this year.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. Santo
Domingo, or where do you go?
Well, we went to Puerto Plata last time a couple years ago, and I think we're going to go to Punta Cana.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we're actually working on a Hard Rock there too.
Oh, you are? We'll have to go check it out.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
For sure.
That's awesome. One of the questions I always like to talk about, and this has got to be even more different than anything else that I've talked to anybody with. How do you market in this space? Like, obviously, when you've got a residential interior design firm, it's a little bit easier to identify. What do you guys do? Obviously, on your website, you've got a fantastic website, by the way.
Thank you.
Anybody has to go check this thing out. This thing is, I'm guessing you spent a lot of money on this thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's an investment for sure.
And then you guys have had a lot of press. Is that the main way that you guys market the business, or are there other ways?
There are other ways. We're pretty big in social media. We like to have a lot of fun. We work hard, but we have a lot of fun. So we're big on our social media. Also, the shows, there's lots of gaming shows for us. There's design shows, hospitality design show. There's the Southern Gaming Conference. There's lots of different conventions that we attend. There's Indian gaming conventions that we attend. So those types of conventions that we try and market ourselves there as well.
So at those conventions, you've got casino owners and managers that are going around to try and find the latest, greatest everything?
Yes. From design, architecture, and to, slot machines, the latest slot machine technology. So, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Now the typical convention is pretty wild and crazy, and those are usually in Vegas. So I can't imagine what that kind of convention is about to actually market the convention world.
Right. Yeah, it's fun. We have a big one that's coming up in May, the hospitality design show that's more of like materials and furniture and finishes and every year it's a blast. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. So let me ask you this. As the business owner, you have to wear lots of hats. What's one hat that you have to wear that you would rather somebody else wear?
That would be the HR hat, the human resources hat.
That one's tough.
It is a tough one. That's not my favorite part of business for sure. I like to wear my heart on my sleeve. So,
yeah. So on the flip side of that, what's your favorite hat to wear?
Oh, yeah.
Other than design
hat.
I got to take that off the table. So other than design, what's the next one? As the business owner, what's the next thing that you do like to do?
I love to be on site and seeing one of our projects and one of our designs come to life. Is that still being a designer?
No, that's project management. That's
okay.
All
right.
So do you like the travel piece of it? Because obviously you're going all over the place.
The travel piece is whatever. It's more about being on site and, working, seeing it all come together and working out solutions and with things that happen, those things that come up in the field and working out with the contractors and the rest of the team, the different solutions. So that's my favorite part of it.
So out of all the projects that you guys have done, what has been your favorite project that you've worked on?
Oh boy. I don't know that I have a favorite because they all, there's not all of them. I can't say all of them because there have been some that have just not been awesome, but I'm proud of many, many, many of our projects and favorite. I don't know that I have a favorite. I don't think I've done my favorite yet. Favorite.
If you had to go visit one right now, which one would you want to go see?
I would say the Cromwell, the local project here down on the Strip, the Cromwell that we did.
How big is that project?
It is a boutique casino with a nightclub, Dre's nightclub, pool club. It's approximately 200 rooms, and it's really a fantastic project. And that would probably be, if I have to pick a favorite, that would be my favorite.
So the next time I go to Vegas, that's where I should stay?
That's where you should stay.
All right. So what's next for you guys? Are you expanding? Are you going in any new directions, or just stay in the status quo?
What's next? Austin is next. An Austin office is next.
Will you move all operations, or will you just have a second office?
We'll have a second office. That's on the radar for the next 12 months. That's the goal. So then you can do 1 week in one place Yes.
and 1 week in another.
Yes.
And you can see your family a little bit more.
Yes.
So they probably like that idea.
They really do like that idea.
Well, Kim, it's been a pleasure talking to you and in hearing about a new world. We've never covered this ground before.
Oh.
Casino design, big commercial. I've had a recent conversation with more of an architect versus an interior designer, but this is a new conversation for us. So thanks for sharing.
Fantastic.
All your stories. And how can people learn more about you? Where's the best place to send them?
More about me, I guess probably to my website or to our Facebook.
Well, we will put links to that in the show notes. And,
all right.
The next time I'm going to Vegas, I'm going to the Cromwell.
All right. Great.
All right. Well, thanks a ton for talking with me today.
Thanks, Nick. Have
Bye-bye.
a good one. Bye-bye.
So one of the things that I talk about a lot with the show and with the interviews is how different the stories are. And I don't think it could be any more different today with our interview with Kim, talking about, she lives in one part of the country and works in another part of the country. She commutes I don't know how many, is that thousands of miles? I don't know, but it's a plane ride every week. Holy cow. And she's all over the world. She's working in Vegas. She's getting ready to open another office in Austin, which obviously will help her stay at home a little bit more, which is fantastic. But super fantastic interview. Thank you so much to Kim for sharing all her stories and just her experience in the interior design world. Love that it's so different than any of the other folks that we've interviewed here on the show. So definitely connect with her. Send her a thank you email, through her website. That would be fantastic. I want to share with you guys an idea, and not sure that I'm going to go through with it, but if I get a couple of people that email me that tell me, hey, that's a great idea and I would help you, Nick, then we'll move forward on it. So one of the things I'm always worried about is, am I bringing you guys the kind of content that you want to hear? Because I'm all about my audience. I want this, because I'm not going to grow this thing if you guys aren't excited and engaged and wanting to hear more. So I'd like to get some feedback from you guys. And one of the things that I would like to do is I'm thinking about kind of building a board of advisors or a group of advisors that would give me feedback on the people that I'm going out and interviewing, the types of questions that I am asking, and what I should be talking about to the interior designers. Because as you guys know, I am not an interior designer. And so it is imperative that I get feedback. And so one of the thoughts I had was to build a list of people or a group of people that I could chat with on a regular basis to get input on not only the people that we have on the show, but also the types of questions that I ask. So I'm thinking about asking for maybe a 6-month commitment, that you would commit to listening to the shows each week, that you would commit to giving me feedback on the show, what I can do to get better, all of those kinds of things. So if you are interested in something like that, if you would raise your hand by going to the website, the Chaise Lounge podcast, and click on the right-hand side, there's a questions tab. Just click on that and just send me a little note that says, hey, I would love to be part of the feedback panel for you. And I don't know, we'll come up with a catchy name or something. I have no idea what to even call it if we move forward with it. But if I only have one person that says, yeah, that sounds cool, then I probably won't do it. But if I hit a bunch of people, what I'll do is I'll kind of feel them out to see who's really committed and maybe have conversations. But that's kind of my idea, because I am I know that in order to keep folks engaged, I need to have content that you guys are super excited about. So give me some feedback. Give me a note if you'd be interested on being a part of that, and we'll see where it goes from there. As you guys know, I've got some sponsors that help make this show possible each and every week. So the folks at designmanager.com. You guys have heard me talk about Design Manager before. I usually don't do anything formal. I don't ever read a script. But what I did want to do this week is I wanted to read to you something off of their website that just kind of puts it in their own words. Design Manager is your first and only stop as an interior designer if you are serious about running a successful design business. After more than 30 years of developing software specifically for designers, we have the experience to give you the time-saving features that you need. Design Manager's cloud-based project management and accounting tools are easy to use for designers, bookkeepers, and accountants. Put an end to vendor mistakes and client confusion with our standardized design flow. So if you go over to designmanager.com, that verbiage is straight from their webpage, but they've got some tutorials, they've got some videos, and you can go and there's a free trial. I'm looking at the button right now, and they'll also do demos. They will teach you. It's a super intuitive system, but there's tutorials, and Lindsay's really going to make sure that you are successful using their system. So go check out designmanager.com. So I'm getting all formal on you guys this week. I just decided I'm going to go straight to the websites so I don't mess anything up this week. But Benjamin Moore, they've been our sponsor since the beginning of this year, and they've got all sorts of tools for you, the designer. If you go to benjaminmoore.com, there are tons of different ways that you can utilize their website. You can find a store. You can find color information. For me, they have cookies in their website, and so it pushes me right over to contractors, and so I had to figure out how to get back over to the designers. So when you click on that, it's all the background is purple, so it's not purple for contractors. But anyways, they've got some resources, some professional resources for you. They have CEU courses and webinars. Of course, they've got lots of resources for color, and there are kits and different things that you guys can connect with your interior design rep and get in touch with them so that you have tools. One of the things that I do as a paint contractor, we have a color designer that goes out and does all of our color design for our clients. And one of the things that she does, and she's been fantastic to work with because I used to have to do the color design and I get to hand it off to her now. It's great. But one of the things that she does with Benjamin Moore is she goes in, and I don't exactly know how she does this. Maybe I'll have her on the show and she can tell us. But she does a design with our clients, and then she's able to have Benjamin Moore send them direct to their house these bigger samples, and it doesn't cost her anything to send these. And our customers absolutely love them because it just comes a couple days later in the mail. So it's really fantastic. But anyways, check out the Benjamin Moore website. There are so many tools. I don't want to get into all of it, but there's a ton of stuff. So hopefully you are utilizing and speccing Benjamin Moore paint. There's so many different products to know about, and but connect with your interior design rep through Benjamin Moore, and it'll help you build your business. Trust me. All right, I'm always asking you guys for iTunes reviews. I want to read the latest iTunes review, or parts of it. It's actually pretty long, so I'm going to kind of try and cut through some of it. When I started my own interior design firm, I struggled with all the daily needs of running a design business. As a self-taught designer, I thought that maybe this business knowledge was something I had missed by not going to school. Fortunately, I stumbled upon the Chaise Lounge and learned otherwise. The host, Nick May, so kind and easy to listen to. Aw, thank you. And he brought on one great guest after another. I'm going to skip down. Now that my business is going strong, the podcast helps me keep check of what's going on in the rest of the industry. There's no way I'm going to be an expert on everything, but here at the Chaise Lounge, I get a chance to listen in with the experts that are out there. Well, thanks a ton for this review. It's much longer than that. But I love getting these reviews because I love hearing where you guys are at and what you guys think of the show. So if you could, please go over into iTunes and give me a review. If you have listened to more than one or two shows, well, even if you've only listened to one or two shows, that's fine too. I'll take those iTunes reviews, but please give me a review. It helps people find us, and it doesn't hurt the ego. Hey, last week I told you guys about a teleseminar that Fred Burns, a friend of mine, is putting on for interior designers. It's all about creating a killer bio. The title actually, Create a Killer Bio, Promote the Star That You Are. And if you want information on that, we will put links in the show notes, how to find out more about that. That is a free teleseminar, so that's over the phone. It's a little bit old school. Evidently, Fred tells me he gets hundreds and hundreds of designers to join him on these things. They're super easy to call in and do. You can do it from anywhere. You just listen in. But that is coming up Tuesday, May 24th. So that's coming up tomorrow. If you are listening to this on Monday, it's coming up on May 24th at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So that's going to be 1 o'clock our time here in Denver, and at noon over on the West Coast. Just a little snippet of what you're going to learn. Easy ways to create a new bio or tweak the current one that you have so that it builds a buzz. It builds your business and enables you to attract bigger projects from better clients. Discover how to add power to your profile on your website and your house site and in social media. So if you struggle with that kind of stuff, talking about yourself and building a really great bio or profile, then I would highly recommend that you join Fred for that teleseminar. Hey guys, we have a special show coming up this week. As many of you guys know, if not all of you, I went out to Kips Bay out in New York. The Elite Show House of the Year is out there, and it's open right now, so you should probably, make some plans to go out to New York if you don't already live out there. But what I did was I interviewed a lot of the designers that were taking part in the show. A lot of times I hear this from designers. I want to be a part of a show house or, a big name show house if they've done a smaller one around the country. And things that we talk about are, how do you do that? And we actually recorded one of our industry episodes with Phyllis Harbinger. And what I decided to do is just kind of couple that with the whole episode around Kips Bay, because we talk about not only the designs that the designers did in their rooms, but we talk about some of the pitfalls, some of the things that didn't go right. What did it take to get into the show house? Some of the folks, it was their very first show house, let alone Kips Bay show house. And then for others, they had been there 4, 5, 6 times. So a huge variety of different folks. And why do they continue to be a part of it? So watch your feed this week. I don't know exactly what day it's going to come out, but it's going to be fantastic. This is a show that you are not going to want to miss. So again, one more thank you to our sponsors, VA Staffer, Design Manager, and Benjamin Moore. If you're not familiar with those folks, get familiar with them because they are providing fantastic value to you, the interior designer. And I think that's about it for today. I'm Nick May, your host, reminding you to keep dreaming big and keep designing a great design business. See ya.